Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Bust channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and today looking at a film session of the Bears' run defense against the Detroit Lions, specifically Adrian Peterson. Like I said, we're going to go through Adrian Peterson's running plays against us. He had a pretty decent day, but we'll just use him as the person to kind of break down what our run defense was looking like. Don't want to get too many plays because Detroit has like 8 backs, but we'll use that as a focal point. Obviously, the previous episodes, film sessions on Trubisky are up if you want to look at that, and then I'll be doing David Montgomery's run plays as well. And then we'll get into some pass defense stuff too. Probably look at Hockenson and some Stafford's completions. So anyway, just a reminder, use speakpipe.com. The address is right there in the video. If you want to get your voice on the episode, whether it's a question or a comment, if it's appropriate, I'll address it. So definitely do that. And if you like the content, want to continue to support the content, then definitely check out the Patreon and see how you can support that way. All right, so anyway, like I said, we're going to go through 14 plays. We'll see how far we get through it. There's 14 plays, and we'll just kind of go through it like that. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get this started. So excited to watch Coach film, y'all. Y'all don't even know. I don't know why they took so long to show it to us. But anyway, so they're coming out of I formation, trade the tight end. Looks like a power play. And we see that Adrian just goes off. We're going to go from the end zone view. Looks like Nichols is in at the nose. Akeem Hicks is on the left side, and then we got Robert Harris. And yeah, this is a regular old power play, so we got a number of issues going on here. So the biggest ones is going to come down to our linebackers. We got an odd front. We talked about that before. So we got the pool coming. And honestly, I wish I could go slower than this. Let me back up. So honestly, whoever the left guard was, not the left guard, the right guard, they did a great job. This is the right tackle. They did a great job cutting off Akeem Hicks. Akeem Hicks was trying to cut it down, but they gave him enough to like seal him. And honestly, even with that being said, that's not his play to make, but it could have really messed up the timing. So they did a good job there. I believe it was the tackle because they got 2 tight ends. That's what was throwing me off. So they're in 22 personnel. Yeah, the tackle has to cut down Hicks. Nichols gets bullied. The pull comes around, gets Harris, and then really it's just Trevathan. I mean, Trevathan taking on that block, and let me see what Roquan did, but taking on that block, Trevathan just really just gave himself up. Okay, that's what happened. So Roquan and Trevathan switch. Now there's a pull, and I don't know, man. I know some people will say I'm old school with football, but as least as I know for linebacker play, the way that I was taught and I like teach, if there's a pull, you got to go. You got to go. Roquan feels where the pull was. There's nothing really there. I mean, very rarely are they going to pull somebody and that's not where the ball is going. Only really on play action, but those pulls are pretty easy to see, to be honest with you. So First problem is Roquan sees a pool, and instead of scraping over, he feels nothing. Now Trevathan, he gets in the gap, but then the second kick out comes, and this is a tight end, or not tight end, that's a fullback. You never know, because is it? I don't know. People be using them like us. We be using fullbacks and tight ends interchangeably. But either way, you had an H-back come and just completely kick Trevathan out of the gap. So I'm not going to keep going on that play because we could talk about each part forever. But we got a lot of plays to get through. So that was a big run for AP right there. This is already kind of in end zone. Not really as tight. And Khalil Mack does a great job here because that could have got way worse. AP, veteran vision, doesn't really have the explosiveness he used to, but still was able to bounce that out. So we got two tight ends on this edge, so we got an extra D gap. And really just kind of an inside zone and tries to get to the cutback. Oh, I take that back. Khalil cleans it up, but that was Tayshaun Gibson that ended up making that play. So, and I don't know. Maybe that wasn't a zone. Maybe that was a gap play because no one really moved besides the tight ends. Now, the one thing I don't like is that Gibson is in the same gap as the linebacker, so somebody's not doing something right. And we got regular gaps here. So Trevathan should be here. Hicks should be here. Max should be there. And so Hicks reduces down, basically trying to make a play, which forces AP to bounce. And Gibson does what you are supposed to do as a safety and clean that up. All right, so 3rd down and 1. Out of the shotgun. Bust the screen on a blitz from the outside. They had that last second shift. Then they do the blitz. It's hard to see from the offensive side, but overall, the 3 interior linemen did a good job of not being moved off the ball. Obviously, you saw Robert Harris there, or is that Urban? Yeah, that's Urban. Obviously kicked off by Buster, but the interior D-line doing a good job of at least holding their ground. All right, out of the shotgun again. Another small gain. We had a pull. Sorry about that. So we had a pull that came around. Khalil Mack doing a good job. Really closing down the edge pretty hard. I'm not sure if that was supposed to be, I want to say, a split zone or some type of counter. Really, Mac just blew that up. Roquan got trucked. Jesus. I was about to say Roquan did a good job. He did a good job getting off the block. So Roquan's going to come down. The pulling guard's going to try to get him. He kind of voiced that block, but he gets kind of trucked. But really, that's Khalil Mack making that play. Not exactly sure what they were trying to accomplish with it. Khalil just knifes inside. And it might have been a stunt, and you just called the right stunt at the right time, but he knifed inside, got underneath that block and or the pull, and blew that up. So I had a shotgun again. And that's almost like a dive. I wouldn't even really call it a zone. They're not zoning that much. They kind of just going big on big. Well, no, this is more of an inside zone. Let's see. Who is that? Harris? 95? Yeah. Great job at the point of attack. And looks like Jenkins been around the league for a long time. Just really good job at the point of attack. Harris fighting, using his extension a little better. There you go. I mean, that's a two-gap. That's how you two-gap right there. Khalil obviously off his block from the tight end and is able to help. But that's all the D-line right there. And look, I know Detroit isn't the same O-line, but if we can look like that against most teams, we'll be in really good shape. All right, so they run that same play where they pull. I guess you could call that a power. And yeah, we got it. Dude, okay. Credit to Jalen Johnson for saving the touchdown, but that was such a punk tackle. Because Roquan gets caught up inside in the mess, and the edge is just sealed. Who is that? I'm still getting used to everybody's number. Is 93 the rookie? Or is that 93? Yeah, I'm guessing that's... No, 93. No. Who is 93? It's either the rookie. Mingo's number 50. Whoever the edge was, 93, got completely pinned in and almost gave up that touchdown. Because Roquan does get caught in the trash, but really it's because the edge here gets completely pinned. Like, you got to keep your outside arm free. And then Jones just, the receiver, completely eats up Gibson. Like, bro, here and here, just watch. They get completely pinned, stacked. So Trevathan with a good job coming over top, but really Jalen Johnson slowing that down. All right, so we got a stretch play there. Yikes. Yeah, let's get to the other side to see. Oh, no, 99 is the rookie. Who's 93? Anyway. So, we got a stretch. Linebackers get caught in the trash. Jalen gets lost. So, we got 3 interior, 1 edge. Safeties in the box as well. Then they bring in another tight end. So now we got an extra gap. So Trevathan, Roquan, obviously off to the races. Roquan's got cut back. And Trevathan just gets washed. Trevathan gets washed into Roquan, which hurts the backside pursuit as well. So trying to be to that point and cutting inside, I just don't know why. Like, that was such a terrible decision by Trevathan. You have backside pursuit, or at least you got to trust that you got backside pursuit. So you see a stretch play, especially a stretch play. You know you can run to the perimeter, and you know that the ball's only going towards you, so backside should be chasing. Like, you don't have to cut back. You play the perimeter. But for whatever reason, Trevathan cutbacks gets washed right into Roquan 2 for 1. And it's kind of like some people have mentioned, kind of what I expected when I did my recap. Trevathan did not have a great game. So we got another dive, essentially. Well, this is really a blast to the B gap. All right, so let's go back. Because we got our boy Akeem Hicks making noise. So Akeem Hicks is backside on this play. It looks like Nichols is the nose. So Hicks just completely beats the offensive lineman to the point of attack. And AP just does a good job bouncing that back. Now let's see what happened on the edge. So Hicks does that. That kind of kills that gap, but opens up a new gap. And I mean, 99, who I think is Gibson, the rookie. He ended up getting finished. Yeah, that's Gibson. 83 finished him. See, now that's the problem. Like, yes, you keep that outside lane free, but I like that he's reducing down the gap, but you got to get off that block, man. Like, you are too tangled, and then because you would have made that play, but he's so tangled up with him that he ends up getting taken down. But anyway, so Hicks does beat him to the point, which is nice, kind of blows the play up, but it leaves this backside open now. Because Hicks is essentially what Roquan should have been. So Roquan would have had to replace where Hicks was, but he didn't know that. And so that's why now Roquan is in position to get sealed off. So, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it's just a good play by AP. I mean, that's one of the things you get with penetration is that type of possibility where you now vacated a gap. All right, so inside zone again. This is your boy Hicks. We got 4 down on the line. Bust a screen. Scrine is up here in the box. So we get an inside zone. And Khalil Mack does a real good job. Honestly, Khalil makes that play because Khalil's going to maintain outside leverage, but then he's just, at one point, he's going to wall off the momentum. So right now, he's making sure, well, he's got some type of leverage, but now he's just going to break down because, yes, they're moving him laterally, but they weren't moving him vertically. And so since he pretty much stayed flat, there was no way where for AP to get downhill. So, yes, he's getting washed down, but he still stays on this line of scrimmage. And so now the linemen are in his way. Then you got Hicks, who does a good job as well. All right. 22 personnel again. I mean, that's a blast as well. At least it looked like it. Yep, straight to the B gap. They're just going to lead them up. Really, I guess this is a lead zone. I mean, look at that. Look at that linebacker. If you want to know how he was able to get that, that's how you know. D-line's doing a good job maintaining leverage. No one's getting completely washed or ate up. So you got Jenkins, you got Nichols, Urban, and Gibson. And really, they just, well, two things. Schematically, they had us right there, but also Eddie Jackson. This isn't a good fit. So they bring the tight end out, which is fine. Well, essentially, you're going to have both of these two trying to play outside leverage. So Gibson needs to fit into here better than he did, or Eddie Jackson. I'm not sure what rules they have on this particular play, but yeah, you bring up so when you bring in not two tight ends, when you bring in another tight end, you got an extra gap. So that's already something. But now with these rules, I don't know. Now 99 is moving outside, so I'm assuming he has in-man line of scrimmage, so he has the edge, which means Eddie then needs to fill inside. Now, if they got some type of call, we got calls. I mean, you could go, I think we used to go hammer, whatever we called it. So if Eddie Jackson just says hammer, hammer, and lets 99 Gibson know, okay, you go inside, I got the outside. But either way, they both tried to do the same thing, and that ended up being an issue, especially because by the time this fullback gets there and hits it, like, there's no attack. Gibson has no attack. He's just completely getting washed. And then, obviously, that allowed Roquan to get ate up. All right. 2nd down and 10. 21 personnel. Doing that lead zone again. And it's some old school football, bro. I was saying that watching it on Sunday, but watching the film, I mean, it's not like crazy, but it's definitely more old school than what we're used to. You got this offset fullback going to run a lead zone. And right now we're all good. Roquan got washed down, and that allowed the cutback, which is a good adjustment by AP. Who is that? Gibson? Yeah, he wanted no smoke. He didn't want no part of that tackle. I mean, so everybody's going to flow. I don't think necessarily Roquan did anything wrong. He punched it. Now, what I would say is you got to still understand your gap and understand your leverage. So the ball's flowing to the right. You got a safety behind you in the corner to the edge. You want to force this ball to the edge. So when Roquan punches it, instead of getting up this shoulder, you want to maintain this gap as well, because you know you got Gibson and others. But you know that's a tough call in that moment. AP just made a good cutback. All right, so we're in our base front. We had Eddie Jackson, I think, up on the line. Short run. Yeah, Eddie Jackson's in the box. So we got 8 in the box. Jenkins, Nichols, Hicks. Again, lead zone. Roquan does a good job that time. And it's a little bit of watching the ball, I know, that Roquan's doing, but when you're really good, you want to understand leverage. You want to understand what's to the outside of you. Khalil's there. So is Nichols. So Roquan folds back in, makes that play. And again, the biggest thing is I'm impressed by everybody on the line for the most part. I mean, Nichols still plays a little too high at times and can be moved. But for the most part, we're really holding our ground. And that's the biggest thing you can ask for in the run game. Because if the D-line's getting blown off the ball, it's going to be a long day. So it looks like they do. I would say that's kind of like a little counter. It's supposed to look like power, but a little bit of a counter. Who is that? Trevathan? Because that was about to break. Oh, 93 is Valter. I didn't know he came back. Anyway, so good job by Roy Robert Harris on the double team. Look, that's more important than people know. Especially if you watched film with me last year. That's very important. And so while he, towards the end, gave up a little ground, him holding his ground here, not allowing that line to get downfield, that made that blocker harder for the fullback. And it allowed the rest of the defense to kind of congest that whole area. Because guarantee you, had Harris been blown off this ball right here, this would have been way nastier. But he holds that double team, which cuts down the space. Khalil's able to crack the pull, which also cuts down the space. I mean, that's a great job on the D-line right there. And then Trevathan cleans it up. So, I mean, linebackers, not great. Trevathan, really not great. But the D-line really shining. All right, getting towards the end of this. We're in our base front again. And again, that's how you know this was old school football, because we're in our base front a lot more than usual. But they got these heavy sets. That's Hicks. Looks like Nichols on the nose and Harris. We got Gibson in the box. Or Tayshawn Gibson. We got two Gibsons now, so I got to distinguish. Tayshawn Gibson in the box. Two tight ends. 22 personnel. And they just do, I wouldn't even say it's a zone. That's another gap play. And one thing I see is that we're definitely slanting and stunning kind of our D-line, trying to cut across some of these. You're going to see Harris stun across, which leaves a huge gap. So I'm surprised we didn't get gashed. That's Nichols all day. So Nichols saved that play because Harris went right out of the gap. And again, earlier, like I said, you might stunt into the play and get lucky. Sometimes you get unlucky and stunt away from the play. So Harris is going to come this way. Now, we'll see if Nichols is looping around or if he's just hustling. But either way, it created a huge gap. Yeah, Nichols just actually gets pushed towards the play. But that forces AP to bounce out into the help because Trevathan is out here getting blocked again. All right, that's it. So now I will say that it's no different than what I've said before last year, the year before that. Our linebackers are cover guys first, and so this idea of them taking on blocks and coming downhill, that's always, going to be a weak point for them. So that's nothing new. But the D-line was really surprising, and I felt good. I felt good about our rotation. So it doesn't feel like – now, obviously, I talked about Goldman before. Would like to have him, but I don't feel like we are going to get completely manhandled because we don't have Goldman. So that's the way I feel. Anyway, go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.